We're here to talk about the fast consumer and how to be a faster company. Really what we're looking at is the importance of investing in the future with the need of a faster customer. We picked this venue here today because every item in the room is unique, and it's actually a designer, Martin Creed, he's got an exhibition on the moment, he designed this room. But the concept of every item in here being unique is something very dear to our hearts. It's about how do we understand every user on the web? How do we provide that personal experience to every user? And personalization, we're literally just at the beginning of what it means for us as consumers and as marketers. You know, if you look at the amount of information that's out there on the web, it would take millions of years to read all the information. Even one e-commerce business, all the information would take considerable amount of time to go through and read all that information on the site. When you can't find the information you need, it creates poor experiences. And poor experiences are something that businesses are going to be trading on and or losing to the businesses that can provide good experiences. And I think, you know, one of the examples that I was pretty impressed by recently, or surprised by, was Ryanair. You know, Ryanair is having to come out after 2 quarters of profit warnings and talk about the importance of experience and the importance of being able to take a second bag on the plane, being able to get a seat, not having to pay £85 to print a ticket out. You know, all those things were bad experiences, but people paid the low cost because they wanted, you know, the price. So, you know, what we're seeing is a transformation of businesses around experience. And an incredible author, Clayton Christensen, who wrote The Innovator's Dilemma, which is sort of a Bible for disruption, is been talking recently about how more important than profitability is actually about how you provide experience and your customer satisfaction score. So these things are getting more important. That's really part of the faster consumer. You know, when you look at the opportunity around providing better experience, providing more personalized information, I read something in The Guardian a couple of months ago that, you know, we're only alive for 700,000 hours on average, 700,000 hours. That's if you live to 80. 200,000 of those hours you're asleep. 75,000 hours you're working, 200,000 hours you're waiting around for stuff. So, and 180,000 hours are left to do things you actually want to do. Be with family, go see a movie, things that are fun. You know, if you can improve the experience and if we can improve the information we provide to our customers, we can help them get more of that time back. And that's why it's so important. It goes back to something extremely fundamental in terms of us and who we are. And so, innovating in the era of a real-time retailer. So this is looking at what you need to do in order to keep up with the fast consumer. Today's consumers have very high expectations. You know, they're driven by a couple of different platforms. We spend a lot of our time on systems like Facebook, Google, systems like Apple. And because we're on those sites, our expectations of, even when we go onto an e-commerce site, our expectations are very high because these companies are constantly optimizing the customer experience. You know, in Facebook, I believe, optimizes almost 3 times a year. They do a major relaunch of their site. And so Apple's driven the need for us to have a more simple experience, and we demand, we don't want to see clutter. We want to see completely simple experiences. And when you are going as a consumer to e-commerce sites and end up being covered with complexity, that's when you lose your customers. That's when you provide a bad experience. And so engaging customers is really hard work. 97% of visits to your site will not result in a purchase. Now, what we're finding is that most people don't purchase on that first visit. They're actually purchasing on a second and third visit. So this concept of the visit-based conversion rate, it's still an issue. It's getting worse because people are on multiple devices, multiple platforms. But if we actually start to develop a concept of the visitor and develop a concept of who our customer is, then we can get a better idea of what's really happening with our sales. And so one of the stats that we were really impressed by was around how small numbers of visitors actually make up such a huge percentage of your revenue. So 0.03% of your visitors to your site make up about 30% of your revenues. And so what you need to make sure is you're managing for that small number. You need to make sure you're not letting those customers churn, and you need to make sure you're not getting blinded by the very large number of users that actually only look at a single page view. Because if you're constantly spending time thinking about those users, you might lose sight of your most valuable customer group. And that's a really, really critical area that we got to get into as part of understanding the faster consumer. What we see around this concept and this challenge of the purchase path is most prevalent in travel. So it's 22 visits to different sites before a purchase is made. So there's a considerable amount of consideration in that journey. And it's about understanding, about being able to maximize on that. It's being able to understand when a user is in the early stage of the purchase or whether they're towards the end of the purchase cycle. We've got to move faster as businesses, because I think what we're going to start to find is our consumers are moving ultra fast, because like I said earlier, they're getting exposed to these couple of different channels that move really, really quickly, and that raises the expectations. User-generated content, that's a very powerful way of scaling to your consumer moving quickly, because you're actually ceding that control to the consumer. And we've seen the power of reviews and ratings and what they can do in terms of driving conversions. But what about, taking that concept and exploring your actual merchandising and your actual product pictures and taking that to the next level? And that's something that we're going to learn about. Understanding shipping and shopping habits. This is something that Metapack are going to talk about. But I've been amazed by the speed at which the US is now accelerating in their ability to transform distribution. 22 cities in the States now have same-day delivery. And so UK has always been leader in distribution, but the US is now innovating quite quickly. And you look at Macy's. Macy's has turned about 500 of their stores into distribution centers. So the same people that are packing the shelves and taking the products in are now also fulfilling customers' online orders. And that means that they can distribute those orders much more locally, much faster to the customer in the cities. So, how do we relate to that? How do we move faster for our consumers in terms of physical? And then connecting the online and the offline. iPads are now becoming a very key sales tool within a store environment. So how do you create that single coherent user journey if a consumer is looking online, on a desktop, looking on an iPad, looking on a phone, and then going into a store and then wanting to buy the actual item in the store? It was actually Nordstrom, I believe, in the States that they were having an issue where sales reps were actually blanking out on the receipt the discounts that consumers could get if they bought online their next purchase, because they knew that would cost them their commission if the customer didn't come back. So what they figured out was that if they gave them, they saw that some of them were bringing iPads in and doing the sale in store with the discount code and still getting the commission. What they realized that if they armed all their sales reps with iPads, then you could really go even further. And so we're going to start to connect the consumer across different channels, and Apple's really done the best job of this. Apple's done the incentive of getting your receipt in the store, the payment is made anywhere in the store, and then by the time you get back to your desk, you've got your receipt and your item and your warranty, and everything is all done completely paperless. And what they've done is they've joined the user up. They've connected your offline shopping experience to your iTunes account now, and it's a very, very powerful technique. And so bricks and mortar stores are really going to evolve because they're about their customer experience points as well. And so you'll need to be able to create that communication with the customer at that point of sale. That's where you handle returns. And John Lewis is doing almost a quarter of their sales now on click and collect. So that click and collect model. So multi-channel businesses have really interesting opportunities in this environment. And what we're also seeing is the use of rich media. This is something that was popularized a long time ago in the sort of early web, but we're going to see this come right back again. We're going to see a lot more use of rich media, rich content on sites, and you'll engage with it at the right point. When you're ready to buy something, you don't want to see a big video in your way of point of purchase, but if you're there for the first time, you want to learn about the brand, then it's really appropriate to do that. And that's again about where understanding the user and be able to provide that personalization becomes really key. And so moving towards the overall creating great site, it's about creating that fundamental heuristics about what makes a good experience and what makes a good buying process across the entire journey. How do we continue to innovate quickly? How do you compete against these internet giants? So looking at Amazon. So Amazon will be driving by 2016, 26% of e-commerce sales. So Amazon continues to be that dominant force within retail. And many businesses are looking at Amazon and saying, well, we're providing a completely different solution. We're not part of this mall experience that Amazon has been providing. And what we've looked at in terms of how we see the web evolving is into these three core areas. So you have utility web, which is more or less Amazon space. That's the distributor model. And so that's where you need to compete on experience, you need to compete on product richness, product information, and you need to compete in areas that Amazon just can't go into. Now, if you're competing on distribution and warehousing, then Amazon is a pretty unstoppable force in that space. But one of the fastest growing, most exciting categories is the experience category. And this is retailers that are looking to go beyond just a transaction. They're looking at providing a rich experience around content, media, information, recommendation, and eventually a very easy transactional process. And this is probably the most interesting, highest growth opportunity space in e-commerce. And what many of your businesses are here today are within that experience category. And what we're seeing is, even real extremes of this, where businesses like Net-a-Porter, for instance, and Mr. Porter are actually, creating a magazine that is a physical magazine, and it's sort of really showing that change in commerce is really going into experience and away from pure transaction model. And then you have the digitization of what used to be physical, and that's apps, books, CDs, DVDs, they're all, when was the last time you went to a DVD store? All these things are going digital. And so there will be, again, a couple of companies that really dominate within that space. So the experience space we see is that highest growth of new businesses. And when you look at all the sort of new, really big, well-funded e-commerce startups, they're dominating within the experience space. So our philosophy for success and how to move faster is around this concept of real-time retailing. And real-time retailing is all about, how do I understand my customer right now? How do I understand what's happening in the world right now? What's the weather? What are the conditions around the economy? How do I respond to things? How do I not just set up a site and then forget about it and then just do marketing? How do I constantly respond to the customer? And a couple of examples, Burton's been doing a lot around weather targeting, so looking at how to target users around the weather and actually show recommended products based on the weather forecast. And so this is a pretty fundamental idea in fashion, that the seasons change the way, what clothes we wear. But getting into an even more microscopic mode here of retailing and actually being able to sell based on the weather's going to be cold tomorrow, the weather's going to be warm tomorrow. It's extremely effective, very powerful, and we're, again, just starting to see the beginning of what this can mean. Looking at Jimmy Choo, what they look at their online business is as an extension of their luxury brand. And so what they want to do is they want to talk to their customer and tell them about the issues in the weather, and that they were actually going to have delivery issues. And so people were coming to their website, and they were able to surface that message that due to severe weather conditions, that their delivery will be disrupted. And they managed to target that just to the users in New York. And so again, it's about being able to provide that luxury level of service, but only targeting to the people that's relevant. So they didn't want to show somebody in LA that they were having weather issues in New York. It's completely irrelevant. So again, we're starting to see the power of real-time retailing. It's about that personal conversation you can have with your customer. And looking at Farfetch, what Farfetch have been doing around creating this real-time content engagement. And what they saw is that engaging users with relevant content as part of the buying process could have about a 17% impact in sales. And so targeting users that were getting lost around the site, after a couple, what was demonstrated by sort of about 5 to 10 page views of looking around at stuff, they were able to explain about how to shop and show relevant items and relevant content around the looks and styles that they sell. It has a really big impact on conversions, and it's actually leveraging the sort of stuff you already have on your site. Catching the user at that point of leaving. This is, again, what we do really well in an offline context. We're very good at talking to the customer when we see them physically, and as a customer's leaving the store, you're able to say to them, hey, I see you're leaving, what did we do right, or what were you looking for? Being able to catch a user in the basket as they're abandoning is exactly the same concept. And it's a very powerful way of actually engaging that user with, hey, did you know that we do free returns? Or, hey, did you know that it's a free delivery? So making this purchase is actually not as big a decision as you thought it was. And it's reminding them of that at the point of purchase. I want to show you a quick video now of some of the stuff that Arcadia have been talking about recently and what they've been doing around personalization.
I'm Simon Pritchard. I'm Group Digital Director for Arcadia. I work across all of the brands from Topshop, Burton, BHS. Qubit help us create innovative one-off tests They also have the technology to scale the successful tests out to new markets and across our brands. One example would be the low stock pointer for Topman. But once we've demonstrated a positive impact, for example, with Topman, a 4% improvement in conversions, we're then able to take that test and roll it out quickly onto other brands.
So I think one of the best ways in which we work with Qubit has really been enabling us to make small changes and to identify which of those changes will have the greatest impact for us. Recently, we've been looking at our product detail page to see how can we optimize that page, how can we make sure that the customer is getting exactly what they're looking for. And using Qubit, we've been able to test and trial those different elements. Some of those changes have led to anywhere between a 9 and 11% lift in conversion.
A lot of the frustrations and challenges that traditionally businesses like us would have had with a core e-commerce platform go away when you've got a technology on top of that platform like Qubit. You can tailor and adjust and modify and augment so many different things that really the need to re-platform is something that is much less pressing.
Working with Qubit has allowed us to work with our development teams outside of our cycles. For example, we ran a seasonal campaign around Christmas delivery messaging during a period when we normally have a code freeze. We showed a countdown timer for our express delivery cut-offs during the peak periods, which led to a 26% increase in conversions.
Mobile has been a big area of investment for Arcadia over the past couple of years, and we've had some great successes. Qubit have really been able to help us optimize those big changes through a number of different tests, a number of different pointers that have really guided customers through some of those changes. On top of a full program of on-site conversion optimization, we also use Qubit to evaluate a range of marketing technologies. In fact, Qubit's analysis has proved so valuable that we now insist that every new third-party technology is tested using their methods.
There are so many changes to technology and investment opportunities that knowing which ones are the right ones to invest in for your business is vital. The great thing about Qubit's platform is when they tell us we get a 10% uplift, we can see it in the bottom line.
But yeah, we really love working with the Arcadia group and putting together some really innovative, exciting stuff. I'm excited to actually do 2 product launches here. We're officially launching these products in about 3 or 4 weeks. But wanted to share with you 2 areas that our engineering and product team have been very busy for the last 6 months putting together. And what we've been doing is we've been listening to our customers and we've been wanting to understand what are the most important ingredients missing from their business around analytics, around personalization, and creating better customer experiences. And we saw this concept of web influence retail being really important. And so what we've got with the web is a unique opportunity to understand our customers like we've never been able to do before. And if you look at the last 100 years of retailing and trading, you'll see that it's all been about getting better data. It's been about getting better analytics. And what started off with how did the store perform? You know, what's the P&L of the store? Moved into how did the products perform? What's the P&L of the product in the category? It's now starting to move into how are our customers performing in terms of what they purchase. And we're moving from a product-centric world in retailing to a visitor-centric world, a customer-centric world, and actually looking at how products are met to those customers. And so really it's about understanding really high-level visitor types, like what are the personas of my customer? Are they sofa surfers, basket cases? Are they big spenders or smart shoppers? And then it's about going into minute detail and understanding how do certain products not get purchased. You know, our products never put in the basket, our products never even looked at. You know, why are certain customers not interacting with products? And so what we've built, and we're excited to announce, is Decipher. And what Decipher is our solution to provide very detailed business intelligence. And what it enables you to do is to get in and understand the detail around how your customers are interacting. And what we've done is we've used big data technologies to deliver on something that hasn't been able to be done before. Leveraging the extensibility of the universal variable data model that customers install, you can now analyze how visitors interact with any dimension on your site. And so you're able to understand how customers are interacting with your products, interacting with your delivery issues, you can even look at the color or the weight of your products and how that impacts your customers' conversion. And so things that our customers have been looking for are things like cohort analysis and really the ability to create customized reporting. And so we partnered with Tableau, one of the best business intelligence visualization software packages out there to deliver this. And what we see is the opportunity here is for you guys to build your own reporting around this. You know, we can't design a report as well as you would design it. We just want to give you the plumbing and the power to design reports around your business. So we're really excited. We're one of the first to market, or the first to market, on being able to deliver something like this, and it'll be announced in about 3 weeks. And as part of moving faster, we want to help our customers launch personalizations even quicker. And so what we're excited to announce is Deliver Solutions. And solutions are a whole library of pre-canned, pre-developed personalizations. So whether you want to launch a basket abandonment, or a page abandonment, a checkout abandonment message, you can do that. Or a welcome message to new users. It takes just a matter of minutes to use one of the templates, and then you can customize that, add in your branding, your image, your fonts, and you can actually match that to your site. And so what you're able to do with this is actually move faster, and the really key element here is being able to save the solutions that have worked best for your business. So every year if you run a Valentine's campaign, you can save that Valentine's campaign and reuse it the following year. And so that you have a library of all the personalization assets that you've used in your business before. And we see this really helping to make businesses move faster. And take an example. So we've had a tremendous amount of success with our customers just by helping to call out where products might be running low on stock, creating that urgency around stock messaging. That's the sort of thing that takes under 2 minutes to set up now within the platform, and can drive about a 5 to 10% increase in conversions. So it's a really, really powerful way for you guys to start moving faster. We've got all this continue to be supported by an update in our statistics engine, and we've done a lot around improving our stats models and making it truly the most trusted source for understanding when you're getting an uplift. And a lot of systems out there claim different uplifts, so we've worked hard to make this really, really accurate. At Qubit, we're committed to making sure that you guys really are getting those uplifts that you see in the system, and it's something that's really, really key to us. And we had a huge success launching a white paper around all the stats issues within the industry. It was downloaded 25,000 times. That's it's unprecedented amount of downloads for a business B2B white paper. So it really shows what the industry is looking for.